The movie starts by showing a very strange prison where delicious food is being prepared. It looks like there's a party happening inside the prison. This prison has around 100 floors, and prisoners are kept on different levels based on their crimes. Their food is served on a platform. The platform starts at the top floor and slowly moves downward. Each floor's prisoners have only 2 minutes to eat before the platform moves to the next level. On the 48th floor, we see two prisoners, Goreng and Trimagasi. The platform arrives with food that has already been eaten and messed up by those above. Trimagasi tells Goreng to eat as much as he can, but Goreng feels disgusted and only takes an apple, planning to eat it later. Trimagasi eats a lot. As soon as the platform moves down, the temperature in their cell starts rising. Trimagasi warns Goreng that if they keep any food, the prison will either heat up dangerously or freeze. With no choice, Goreng throws the apple onto the platform. The temperature wouldn't return to normal until they either returned the food or died. This isn't just any prison. It's a facility where people have willingly chosen to stay, even though they haven't committed any crimes, because each of them has a bad habit they want to get rid of. For example, Goreng is addicted to smoking, and his cellmate, Trimagasi, has severe anger issues. Once, in a fit of rage, he threw a TV from an upper floor, killing someone below. Now he wants to control his anger. Trimagasi has already been here for 6 months and has chosen to stay another 6. In this place, every prisoner voluntarily signs up for 6 months, after which they receive a certificate that completely changes their social status. But since Trimagasi still hasn't overcome his anger, he extended his stay. The next day, the platform arrives at their floor again. Trimagasi eats as much as he can, but Goreng refuses to eat because he's not used to such filthy food. Trimagasi asks, "What's your problem? Why aren't you eating? You have no idea how bad it gets for the people below when they don't get any food. I've spent a month starving and it was pure hell." Goreng feels terrible that the people above them don't leave anything for those below. He tries to reason with the prisoners above, asking them to eat less and consider those below. But they don't care and completely ignore him. Meanwhile, the prisoners on lower floors often die from starvation. One day, they hear that an inmate has committed suicide. Trimagasi tells Goreng that it's normal here. Then he reveals something horrifying. His previous cellmate had died, and when he had no food, he had no choice but to eat him. As they continue talking, it's time for the food to arrive, and the platform starts descending. But this time, a young woman is sitting on it. Goreng asks who she is, and Trimagasi explains that her name is Miharu. Every month, she rides the platform down, searching for her lost child somewhere in the facility. She never shares her cell with anyone because she always hoped to be with her child. As the platform moves downward with Miharu still sitting on it, two inmates on the 49th floor try to assault her. But before they can do anything, she kills them both and calmly sits back on the platform. As time passes, Goreng and Trimagasi develop a friendship. Then one night, as they sleep, knockout gas starts filling the entire prison. This means that a month has passed, and it's time for the prisoners to be randomly reassigned to different levels. They pray they end up somewhere in the middle, because those inmates have the best chance of getting food, whether from the top or leftovers from below. When Goreng wakes up, he finds himself tied up. To his horror, it's Trimagasi who has restrained him. They have been moved to level 171 where no food ever reaches. Fearing that Goreng might attack him out of desperation, Trimagasi tied him up for his own safety. But Trimagasi is even more dangerous because he has a knife. Before entering the prison, every inmate is allowed to bring one item of their choice. Trimagasi chose a knife, while Goreng brought a book. Trimagasi approaches Goreng and says, "Right now the food comes from above, and since we're on the 171st floor, by the time it reaches us, there will be nothing left. And if you're wondering why I tied you up, listen carefully. When I get too hungry, I'll have no choice but to eat you." Trimagasi is completely serious, showing his cruel nature. 3 days pass, and hunger begins to take over. Goreng is starving too, but their patience levels are different. Goreng never even considers eating Trimagasi, but Trimagasi has already made up his mind. Now desperate, he begins cutting into Goreng's body. Goreng screams in pain. Before Trimagasi can go any further, Miharu suddenly arrives. She attacks Trimagasi and saves Goreng. Together, they kill Trimagasi. But now Goreng faces another grim reality. There won't be any food for the next 23 days. The only thing left to eat is Trimagasi's corpse. Goreng survives the month by consuming his former cellmate, but the experience breaks his mind. He begins hallucinating, constantly seeing Trimagasi. Another month passes. Once again, everyone is knocked out and reshuffled. This time, Goreng wakes up on the 33rd floor. His new cellmate is a woman named Imogiri, who has a dog with her. Goreng is shocked. Before coming to this place, Imogweri was the one who interviewed him. He doesn't understand why she's here. Imogweri explains that she is terminally ill and will die soon. She wanted to experience the prison for herself. Goreng tells her the brutal truth. There are many flaws in the system. The food never reaches the lower levels, forcing people to kill each other to survive. Imogweri is shocked. She had no idea things were this bad. Determined to fix it, she comes up with a plan. When the platform arrives, she carefully saves portions of food and tries to convince the prisoners below to do the same, but no one listens. The ones below were once even lower. They have gone without food for so long that now they eat as much as they can, whenever they get the chance. For 15 days, Imogweri keeps trying, but no one follows her lead. One day, Goreng tells the prisoners below, "If you eat too much, I'll urinate on your food from above. Then you won't be able to eat it at all." Hearing this, the prisoners on the lower floors finally listen. They start eating only what they need, leaving just enough for the people below them. Slowly, food starts to last longer, allowing those on the lower levels to survive. One day, Miharu appears on the platform again, but this time, she's in bad shape. Goreng helps her onto his bed and takes care of her. But then, Imogweri's dog grabs some food and hides it. Immediately, the room's temperature drops. Realizing the danger, Goreng throws the food back onto the platform, restoring the temperature to normal. As Miharu rests, Goreng tells Imogweri that she goes down every month searching for her child. Imogweri is shocked. She insists that Miharu came here alone. According to her, Miharu is an actress who dreamed of becoming famous. She believes Miharu invented the idea of a lost child and has become a psychotic murderer because of it. That night, they all go to sleep. But when they wake up the next morning, Miharu is gone. Worse, before leaving, she killed Imogweri's dog. Imogweri is devastated. She loved her dog deeply. Now she is completely broken. She never realized just how terrible things were inside this pit. Here, people don't just fight for food, they kill for it. Another month passes, and once again, the floors are shuffled. This prison doesn't just have 100 or 200 floors. It's much bigger than anyone imagined. When Goreng wakes up, he finds himself on floor 202, one of the lowest and most hopeless levels. As he looks around, he realizes that his new cellmate has committed suicide. Soon, Goreng begins hallucinating again. In his imagination, he sees Imogweri appearing beside him. She tells him, "I took my own life so that you could eat and survive." Goreng refuses. He doesn't want to eat her. She was a kind woman, and she was already dying of cancer. But as days pass, starvation takes over. No food ever reaches floor 202, and his hunger becomes unbearable. He tries eating the pages of his book, but it doesn't help. Eventually, with no other option, he gives in. He crawls over to her body and starts eating. Another month of horror passes, and when Goreng wakes up again, he finds himself on floor 6, one of the highest levels. This time, Goreng's new cellmate is a man who has brought a rope with him. The man is determined to climb to the top floor and escape. He tells Goreng, "I will reach the highest floor and get out of here. This rope is my way to freedom." He throws the rope up to the prisoners above them, hoping they will help him climb. But instead of pulling him up, the prisoners refuse to help and knock him down. He nearly falls to his death, but at the last moment, Goreng catches him and pulls him back to safety. Realizing how impossible escaping upwards is, Goreng tells his cellmate, "I've counted the floors. There are way more than 200. If we go down ourselves and distribute the food fairly, we can make sure everyone gets a share. And when the platform reaches the bottom, it shoots back up at high speed. If we sit on the platform, we can escape from here." So they start doing just that. But one day while they are traveling down, they see on one of the floors that some people are trying to kill Miharu. Goreng immediately rushes in, fights those people, and saves Miharu. However, in the process, Goreng gets badly injured, and Miharu, who had already taken a severe beating, doesn't survive. Now the crazy woman, Miharu, is no more. They get back on the platform, and it continues descending. Eventually, they encounter a very wise man who tells them, "You must protect one dish completely intact and send it back up with the platform to the authorities. When they receive it, they will understand that the people below have unity and have learned to survive in this environment. It will be a message to them." They agree and continue going down. The platform descends even deeper than they imagined, so deep that it finally reaches the last floor. There they find a little girl hiding under a bed. They assume she is Miharu's daughter. She is completely clean and unharmed. They decide to feed her the panna cotta, which they had saved to send back up as a message. message. According to the prison's rules, the temperature should have increased or decreased, but strangely, it remains normal. This means that no rules apply on this floor. Both of them are now severely injured, so they collapse and lose consciousness. While unconscious, Goring has a vision in which his cellmate tells him, "The panna cotta is not the message. The child is the message. You must send her up." And when he regains consciousness, he sees that his cellmate has died because when they were saving Miharu, they both got injured, and his cellmate had lost a lot of blood. The next day, the platform comes down again, and this time Goring sits on it with the girl. The platform continues descending until it reaches level 0, the very bottom of the pit, the end of the entire building. There is nowhere lower to go. As soon as they arrive, Goring sees Trimagasi, who tells him, "You have passed your test." But in reality, Trimagasi is just a hallucination, a fragment of Goring's imagination. Trimagasi tells him, "Now the platform will rise back up, but the girl will stay here." People give up when they think only of themselves. But look at this child, so innocent. Goring realizes that he was meant to come all the way down for her. But whether Goring survives or not remains unknown, as this building is full of mysteries. No one truly knows if there is a way out. The movie ends on a mysterious and thought-provoking note. Did the girl truly reach the top, or was it all for nothing? We never see what happens next, leaving it up to interpretation. One thing is clear, this movie is a reflection of society. It shows how those at the top take more than they need, while those below struggle to survive. Goring's journey was about more than just survival. It was about sacrifice and change. The film doesn't give us easy answers, but instead leaves us questioning. Would the message even matter to those in charge? Would they change the system, or would things stay the same? That's what makes the platform so powerful. It doesn't just entertain, it makes us think.